All right, we are live. Thanks for tuning in to the Boundless Authenticity podcast. Today, I am welcoming you into the world of Mojoe the Mad musician, digital artist, writer, and prolific creator. I would agree he's very prolific in creating things.
Thank
He
you.
is the visionary behind the Of Dark Matters podcast. He has two other podcasts, but we're not going to talk about those. I'm just
That's
kidding.
fine.
It's called Two in the Same Boat, and please stand by.
Yeah.
Mojo explores the fringes of reality. That's a very succinct statement and very, very much true. But I'm not going to talk your ass off on this. I just
You
want
can
to
talk
hear
about
him
whatever
talk.
you want.
Yeah.
You tell me where to go, and I'll talk about whatever you want, man.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. It's an
I
honor to be
decided,
here.
yeah, I decided to do it live because it seemed like it would be more fun that way.
Yes.
So, yeah, go ahead and tell me all about what it's like being a heathen.
Well, I started like there was a transition during the time I literally had an awakening, but it was more like it felt like a transferal from like maybe from left to right brain thinking, but then they had to balance out. But like I told you before, like I man, when that one's a hard one. Please repeat the question again. I'm sorry. Just repeat what you said. No, one more time. Just repeat it, please.
I'm
I
laughing
seriously.
because I'm laughing because my question was, tell me what it's like to be a heathen. And
Heathen. Okay, I'm sorry. I had a total brain fart right there. Okay, for a while there, I didn't know who I was. Okay, I had grown up in a like sort of liberal indoctrination, but I never understood like my background, and I wanted to know where I came from. Okay, so I started going down and looking up my history. My last name is McGuire, so I started looking up Scottish history, and I had a friend from Ireland, right, that was into heathenism, and he was telling me about runes, and would tell me stories from Irish mythology, and like he even told me a story where he had had some sort of experience with something that he thought might have been Odin itself in the form of a female. And he would tell me these stories, and I was really, really interested in it because I'm American, I'm mixed heritage. I got German, a little bit of Native. I got some Jewish blood in me. I have, let's see here, I've got Eastern European and Scots Irish, right? That's kind of a big thing, German. And like my family never taught me anything other than like the religion of my family, and then I happened to know that my grandfather spoke with a German accent. He was a preacher, but I never really knew anything, and I started digging deep into it. Right, I started wanting to know more about that, and I started exploring books like by Stephen J. Flowers, or he used to go by Edward Thorson, and I started looking up books on runes, and then I don't know, I moved up here to Eastern Washington, and I find myself to be a sensitive sort of, right? Like I can feel vibes and energies. At least I think so. I don't think it's special. It's just something that comes along with um, just the sensitivity of what I went through traumatically, right? And so now I've been able to pick up on it, sensitively, like a danger sense or something. But I started feeling like up here there was a mixture of like indigenous like energy and Nordic energy up here. Right? I just felt this weird vibe. It just kind of came to me, and I believe in signs. I believe that whatever the creator is, whatever spirit is, whatever the collective consciousness of whatever is out there, like it shows you things sometimes in the form of vibrations and feelings. It shows you signs, and um, I started getting this weird feeling like something was watching me, and beyond just reading like some of the stuff that is in the literature, right? Like I I I started getting this feeling like something was watching me. So I started seeing like crows, like 2 crows follow me around, and they were doing some weird stuff in my backyard, and I started getting more into it. And I had to study the mythology a little bit more deeper because I was having these signs and these feelings. So I go into the stories, and I put it to the side of my head. I'm like, no, that's not really happening or whatever. I would doubt it or whatever. But I actually had an experience in a meditation to what I think was the Allfather Odin. And it came to me both in my mind as if it was like a vision of sorts, but it was also physical on the outside of it when it was done. And ever since then, right, I've just followed that path. I've always felt like earthy paths, right? Whether it be like my experimentations into reading like other forms of paganism, to like Wicca, to like, any of those kind of things on that side. I've always felt kind of a connection, like feeling towards the earth and my ancestors. And especially as I was looking towards my past, that's when I noticed my ancestors and wanted to know more about them. And then I started thinking, after the vision, and that there's been more than one. I've always heard stories where people said they actually saw the Virgin Mary, or they talked to Jesus, or they, I had an experience like that with something. I kind of see it now as the creator in some way, and it's showing me something that I can understand in the image of whatever the experience is at that moment. It feels like it's something like that, right? And you want me to tell you like what I saw? I'll be happy to share with you. That's one of the reasons why I'm a heathen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I had a dream a week before. And it was a dream that startled me because it was very vivid and real. And I've had these random dreams that almost feel like lucid dreams, or deeper than that, like you're actually dealing with something that can communicate with you back and forth, right? And then there's dreams that are vague, or you're in a room or a house that represents you, or something like that. But these were like specific, right? And I started dreaming of like a collage of shadowy like ancestors, and I just knew what they were, and it was like random events. Very, very random events, right? And I was like, I'm peering through their lives in like almost like hyperspace all of a sudden. And then it showed me myself as I was looking down, and I heard a voice in my head that said, "There's warrior's blood in your veins." Okay. And I woke up, and it was very vivid. It was a little shocking because it was very like something that I had to go write down in my journal, right? So anyway, a week goes by, and it's still kind of in my head, right? It's still kind of milling about. And I said, okay, well, if this was a direct message, I'm going to go meditate on it. Like, I'm going to go and like sit in quiet and see if anything answers, within the intention of like, I want to know who this is. Like, please come to me. Now, previous to that, like I had tried to pray to other gods, right? Like I had tried to reach out to other things. I was a practitioner at the time, of like witchcraft and whatever I'd studied at the time, right? And nothing answered. So I kind of lost interest, right? So a couple times they did. But anyway, this one answered quickly. And, I've been meditating there for an hour, and I was listening to some music there that kind of was really dreamy. I forget what I was listening to at the time. And all of a sudden I see I'm starting to have these little flashes of visions, right? Like, I don't know how to explain it. You're awake, but you're in a dream. All of a sudden appears out behind your eyes, and it's almost like you're seeing it, right? Like, it's just that. And I saw what looked like like something with lots of muscle, like almost an insane amount of muscle, and a fist like punching through doors. And it was like little flashes. And I'm like, what's going on? And I started to feel like that. I started to feel his presence in the room, or like whatever it was, right? Like I started to feel like I just internally, I'm asking these questions. I'm like, am I dealing with like, with like Odin? Am I dealing with Thor? Like, what's going on? Okay. And so meanwhile, I go to sit down, and I'm like kind of coming out of the, like, because I'm starting to have this mystical experience while I'm in the meditation. And then also when I'm walking around. So I go back and I sit down, and I ask out loud, I'm like, am I worthy? Like, and I see like what looks like a blue part of writing with whatever's being said. And it says, you are worthy. But if you want me to communicate with you, you have to accept this. I'm like, okay, all right, please do. And then I'm sent. At the time I'd worked at Walmart. I had just moved up here, and I was working at the lawn and garden is my day job, right? Just shoveling dirt. I had a boss who was a real hard ass on me at the time. He was an older man. And this is who I saw. I was in this like shadowy Walmart with lights down below, and I'm stocking stuff on the shelf, and in flies in my boss with two different colored eyes, and he comes down to me, and he goes, you are worthy. In my mind, I heard, every mistake you made, every attempt or other form of divine that showed to you, regardless of what the image was me trying to talk to you. And every mistake you made was actually all the steps that got you over here to talk to me. And then he turned to me, and my friend had told me a joke. He said, you should get an eye patch. And when you're in front of people, you should move the eye patch from one eye to the other and hope that no one sees it, so that you confuse people. And I didn't get it. I didn't think it was that funny, right? And he goes, by the way, I like the eye patch joke. And he tapped me on the shoulder, and then I couldn't stop laughing. And all of a sudden I hear like it starts to rain outside. There's thunder and lightning. I see what looks like smoke going out my door. And as soon as it leaves the door, there's thunder and lightning, and then there's ravens. That was the story. You can believe it or not. That's what happened to me. Yeah.
That's interesting. Somebody says it sounds like you have a sore throat.
Me?
Yeah, it's kind of crackling. I don't know if anybody else can
Hold
hear
on a
that.
second. No, hold on a second here. I got to make an adjustment here. And if this isn't going to work, it's going to take me off just for a second, but I got to get out of. Hold on for 1 second. I've got to figure this out. This happened on my show the other night. So just give me a sec here. Just got to check my sound card real quick. It might turn off my mic, but it'll come back on. If not, I can try to use the webcam mic. So let me just see what's going on here. All right. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Am I
That's much better.
frozen? It's probably going to come back on. Okay, it's going to take me a few seconds for it to kind of sync up here. Okay, so there we go. Maybe, maybe not. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was my experience, and that like validated my reason to continue on and be a heathen. But I've leaned towards other, teachings and other doctrines as well. I can't completely get rid of my like Baptist background. That's a part of my history too. So, I still look at the Bible and different things too, and I know it because I was raised in it. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. I mean, what's it like? It's just reclaiming your masculinity and believing in old gods and ancestors, believing in like, the earth and nature, and believing you can commune with those same things that stand behind you if you feel that connection to it. That's what I
Right.
believe. So
Well, wouldn't you
is it
agree that there's value in looking at everything though? Because everybody just tries to choose one side and then they're like, my side's the best side. And I'm like,
I don't think
okay.
there's a best side. I used to be like that. I was very very angsty and punk rock like back in the day, but now I'm 53, and I generally don't like being angsty as much anymore. There's a lot of energy involved with being angry, right?
Yeah.
And I learned my final lesson, like I was raised liberal left, throughout every school I ever went to, and also very Christian evangelist up until the age of 16. And that's when I stopped. I didn't care because it was, I was angry. But I just uh, I don't know. I'm having a brain fart again. You have to help me out here again. Please guide me, Jihan. I'm sorry. I just lost my track of thought. I apologize.
Yeah, we were just talking about the benefits of looking at both sides when you're trying
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. And I went to the right side after I, had, I felt like my side that was liberal was turning into a bully, or at least that was what the media was proclaiming it to be. And so I went to the right, and then I realized that both sides are only half my brain. So there's no side, there's no anything. Like, that's all an illusion, man. Like, side is an illusion. Like, I find myself to be conservative in some areas and very liberal on other areas, and like that's you know just personal, you know. But I think that's you know the evolution of seeing things through the lens of, like, the way the outrage vampires want us to believe, right? Like, they want us to take a side. You just go look at Congress, right? Like, they're just totally animated, and who the hell are you talking to except for a camera or another politician to your left? Like, it just seems ridiculous. I'm trying to clear my throat right now. I'm not sick, but if I start to sound like I'm having latency issues, please let me know.
Okay.
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 All right.
Yeah, I think about this stuff a lot, and I just never understood why people don't see everything as simplistically as it actually is, like the stone cold hard facts. There's just the light side, and then there's the dark side. There's nothing in between there, and
There's
everybody's
more than
running
that. Yeah.
around. Everybody's running around trying to figure out what to do, and like, okay, you see the light over there, you go towards that. Everything that
Yeah.
makes you feel
Yeah.
bad, you stay away from that.
Yeah. 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 I agree with you. I mean, but that's kind of how the matrix is shaped, man. Not everyone is aware or in a conscious state. Um, I know
Yeah,
that
well,
I wasn't for a long time, or at least halfway, but not really.
the irony of my story is that I just used to be angry because I felt like I was turned on and everybody else was turned off. And I couldn't figure out
Yeah.
why everybody else was treating me so badly because they're like, what's wrong with these people?
Well, because the whatever it is, it wants to test you. It wants to test you. Like, you ever have, like, say, an experience where it seems like it's a plot or a part of a movie with those kind of like archetypes in front of you, like you're faced with that challenge with like a weird, like that's what I'm seeing now. I see a lot of, like, it feels like there's very, like, little real human beings left in the world. It almost feels like a simulation. That was the traumatic thing, I think, about actually waking up, like
Yeah.
and also knowing, like flooding your mind with every single thing you've ever done, good or bad, good or bad, and having to be aware of it all. Like come to terms with it. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the thing. There's so many people out there that are not honest with themselves. And
yeah.
believe me when I tell you, like NPCs can believe in conspiracy theories too.
Yes, they can, but they are the matrix. They are the law and order of the matrix. The
Yeah.
normies. Yeah. Those that are questioning or taking the steps, in my opinion, to like become aware. Because the more you question, the more you're complacent, right? Like you don't care, right? You're fine with how everything is, but everything changes. We are just passengers through strange events, are we not?
Yeah, where I'm at right now is like I don't care if Monday falls on a Sunday, honestly. Like I guess you get to this point where you're just so like
Yeah.
you're past the point of waking up. You've gotten out of bed, you've walked down the street, you're on your way
Yeah.
somewhere. You're just like, I'm just gonna get to wherever I'm going. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So tell me more about these paranormal experiences. Oh, here comes my bird. Hey, buddy. Um,
Nice. I've
what
had a
an
lot of them.
entrance.
I've had a lot of them. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. You guys decide if these are real or not. All I have is stories. I can show you a picture that I drew after the experiences of a few. Um, but basically they're stories. I mean, I've had a lot of them, and the only validation I get is that like people around me for some reason will have these experiences too, and that to me was like rejoicing. Like I have validation. This is not I'm not crazy. Like something's going on. And okay, let's start. Well, as early as 5 or 6, I started having I don't remember, like, as I look back at it, it seems like astral projection, like kind of like you left your body kind of thing. I could have been wrong, but like around 5 or 6, my mom would put me to sleep. People are coming over. It's time for little Mojo to take a nap, right? So I go and take a nap. And the whole time I don't remember going to sleep, but I remember like floating around the house. I remember floating around the house. I remember floating around where my mom and her friends were hanging out. Okay. And my earliest memory of floating around the house is like, I thought, okay, if I flap my arms like a bird, I might be able to move. And I started moving around the house. So like I would ask my mom, like, uh, I remember that your friends were here. And she would go, no, you were taking a nap. You were asleep, honey. And I'm like, okay. But it felt like I was in the same room. Well, this is another experience with this, like around that same time. And it's my earliest memory of like flying over my neighborhood, right? Like I was flying over my neighborhood. I lived in a house on the top of the hill at a place that was off of Marcia Lane. I can give you the address. It's nobody. I don't know anybody that lives there no more. But I lived in Southern California. Okay, I lived in San Diego. Lived in El Cajon, and my house was at the foot of a Mount Helix. Right, it was like between La Mesa and El Cajon, and we go up the hill and down the hill, and then at the bottom of the neighborhood there was a school that I went to called Fuerte School Elementary School. And this elementary school had a kindergarten playground in the kindergarten, and then a first through third grade, and then a fourth through fifth, and then like an everybody big playground. And it was kind of like stepped, right? Like into different sections, right? The school was on top, and then you'd walk down steps. So anyway, I couldn't tell you if it was a dream or not. Felt real. I was flying over my neighborhood at night. I was going over the school on the playground, on the blacktop playground, for the fourth and fifth graders. Right. This is what I knew who they were later on in life. there was like a sandbox, like with swings, right? And then a separate sandbox, and the rest was blacktop, like with hopscotch and all that kind of stuff, tetherball. Well, I flew over it, and I saw what looked like a like flying saucer. It was a flying saucer on the ground, and the aliens were taking soil samples from the sandbox. Okay. And I knew what they were doing, and I knew that they were aliens. I was like young though, man, but like I knew this. And the aliens had big heads. They appeared to be green, but they looked like grays, like the stereotypical grays, but they were greenish, I guess. There was a light that was focusing on the UFO. And like I said, they were taking soil samples, and then I don't remember anything. Okay. So later on in life, it turned out to be about 5 or 6 or 7. And my dad was still in my life at that point. And he wanted to do father-son things with me. And at the time, he had enrolled us with a group of fathers in a group called Indian Guides. I don't think it's called Indian Guides anymore, but it was an Indian-themed father-son. Like, we make vests and leather things together, and we go out camping with these other families or anything like that. And this is a recent memory that came up, by the way. So one trip was to the Laguna Mountains near the observatory. Okay, and we were going to go camping in the lagunas. And this came to me recently, man. Like, I'm coming out of my tent. All right, we had tents. I remember this distinctly. This keeps on, and it's vivid. I'm coming out of my tent. I see something fly by in the stars. It looks like I guess it felt like a moon. It flew by. Right, flat, like it could have been 2-dimensional, but I'd see it fly by. I hear my father talking to the other dads, and they're talking about, man, maybe that was a satellite. You know, like, what is that? Like, maybe that was a satellite. And then everything turns bright, and like, I don't remember anything after that. I don't remember, but this is a memory. Like, I remember that, and this was not in a dream. This was camping. Okay. So, later on in life, we went to that house on top of a hill, right? And it had to have been, this is the story that I think that I've told before on different shows. Okay. I'm sitting, it's 1986. I believe I'm a freshman going into being a sophomore at my high school. I'm up a little later than normal. I used to draw compulsively, like all the time, just draw. And I was up at my desk, and I decided to go to bed. And so I turned off the lights, and in this room, this is where I was at. My house was a kind of a 2-story house. There was an extra loft that went upstairs where I stayed, right? And that was like the 2nd story, but everything else was kind of floor level. And I was staying there, and there was a window that faced east. There was a window that faced south, and a window that faced west. Okay. And my beds were western facing east, right at that window. And the window was open, but I didn't pay any attention to it. I turn off the lights, and I'm in bed, and I look out the window, and there looks like some sort of wheel hovering with a red light that's going around in a circle. So I get up and I turn on the lights, and I go out to the south facing window, because it had moved as soon as I turned on the lights. And I didn't have any reference to what a drone would be. Okay, but this thing made no sound. All right, made no sound. So I thinking I'm seeing like a UFO, or I'm seeing like I'm seeing something like that. Like, I guess the best way to describe it is like the flying machines in the Terminator, right? Like, basically, it looked like a plane. It was gray, no markings or nothing on it. It was shaped. The only way I can describe it is I didn't know what it was then, but when we started using drones in Afghanistan, okay, this looked like those big ones that they used to go and fucking use in the military. This looked like a smaller version of that. I actually found the drone, like, had a picture of it, but the configuration was different. And the picture that I have, it's got two tails, right? But this thing was gray, and it flew really low. Like, you could see it going over my neighbors' houses until it just disappeared. And you know, I didn't know that what I saw was a drone. So anyway, I'm still at that house, and then later on, about a year or so, or it wasn't that, it wasn't that long a time. It could have been a year or two. We moved to another location not far from that house, but in a housing subdivision, right, called Rancho San Diego. And that is where I had not too far long after seeing this drone. And for some reason, my internal instinct says these two are connected, right? Like, I don't know why. I don't know why this is connected to this, but it is. Okay. I just know it instinctively. All right. But I can't piece everything together other than what I'm going to tell you. So one day, I don't know what happened. I don't remember the day, but it was close to this incident. I had a feeling inside me that overtook me that said, wouldn't it be fun to go up in a UFO? And I remember this before this happened. And I said, yeah, that would be great, man. Like, I would love to go on a ride in a UFO. And then everything goes black after that. It could have been just the day went by. I don't know. I couldn't tell you because I don't remember a whole chunk. I just remember, and I just remember that moment that I felt this thing. And I mean, it was like, I can't explain it other than like, it was a message that I felt. Right? So everything goes black one day. And I feel like something is like a sledgehammer has hit me straight into the third eye. I have a headache that I can't understand. I mean, it is like pain, right? And I start seeing a series of things. I'm back at my old house where I saw the drone. We had a swimming pool in the back. We had a walkway that was next to a garage that went down a windy hill that led to the rest of the neighborhood. Okay. In this vision, dream, whatever it is, I'm walking from the pool area through a gate that goes by the garage, that goes by another gate into the front yard. I hear a metallic sounding voice, very deep. It doesn't sound like it's male or female. I can't make out what they are saying. I look up and I see 3 octagonal shaped crafts, silver on top, red below, in a vector formation, flying. I see a face that seems to be transparent on the doorway of the garage. There's a door that connects the two where you can come out either side, right? And they're saying something, and as they pass over me, there's this overwhelming feeling in me that says, "Don't leave me here." And I scream that out. I said, "Don't leave me here." One of them lands at the end of the driveway. It looks to be the size of a toy. I go up to the toy, and that toy turns large, and what looks like a fetus thing, I swear to God, picks me up and everything goes black. Then I look like I'm in a white room that looks like a dentist office almost, but the alcove with the drawers is made from the floor. I am like this, like, you know, like vertical a little bit. And I start seeing a bunch of little white-skinned, big-eyed, smiley creatures all around. And then things flash. I see tubing and wiring and like weird stuff. And then I hear the sound of what like sounded like Tibetan monks chanting, like, oh, through the whole fucking thing. I see a face that looks like an Aztec. It was on fire. It looked like an Aztec, like carved face, and it was on fire. And I'm now in the room again, and little guys are walking near me and on top of me. And then I see what looks like something faces me, like head on, like face in the pupils, but I can't make out its face. But all I can do is feel like it's not happy with me for some reason. All right. And I don't know, like, what the hell. And then everything goes black, like more like sounding the humming, and it goes black for a while. Like, I mean, but I'm conscious, but I'm in pitch black. And as I gain consciousness, I can't move. I'm in my room at home. I slept on a couch in a small TV room in that little house in Rancho San Diego. The only other thing that was in there was a bookshelf and a window that faced west. Okay. And then my couch was, you know, facing south, and then there's a TV. That's the room. As I noticed that there's a pillow over my head, I'm in the fetal position. I see directly across from me, I see what looks like the stereotypical alien gray with a satchel on, and its hand is raised up like this. And as I gain consciousness and I get the ability to move, it dissipates as if it never was there. And I remember the whole day. I mean, it was like, I mean, have you ever had a headache that just, like someone just plunged and like an iron spike into your brain? That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. And to this day, there was more incidents after that. Like, it was a string of like 2-week incidences. And then I'll tell you some other observations that have come to me through, like, which is making me think like I was fucked with, right? Like, I was fucked with, I feel like, because I saw the drone. Did I see the drone, or are they interconnected? Like, why would I? Because when you tell, you're like, you know, I told my therapist about this. I tried to, nobody believes me. People think I'm crazy, want to put me on meds. Like, that's what they did. But that didn't stop it. So a couple nights later, I start to have what I hear the sound of Tesla coils in my ears, and there's something zapping me in the back of my neck. I start hearing zap, 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 and I'm actually convulsing when this is happening. And then everything goes black. All right. Second incident, or third incident. I'm sitting in front of my TV set, watching TV. Don't remember exactly what I was watching. Same room. I got a picture of it if you want to see it.
Yeah, put it up on the screen.
I'd have to go and mail it and stuff. I don't know how to put it up on the screen real quick. Let me just see here. Okay, so this is, I don't know if that's a good, you can see the whole thing.
Yeah, I can see it.
Can you see that? Okay. So let me just describe that. I was sitting in front of my TV, watching TV, probably just something random. I see what looked like a rainbow swirly like vortex in front of my TV set. And it gets bigger. As it gets bigger, it comes right in front of me and something tries to grab my face, and I look down and it's a gray and everything's crazy underneath it. I say, I freak out. I'm like, no, like that in my mind. And then this is it disappearing and back into the hole. This is what it did. It smirked like this, snapped its fingers, and went back into the hole. And that was one from the TV. That's the first time from a TV. I had another TV experience with a gray way later on, almost recently.
See, I keep telling people to knock it off with the TV watching.
Yeah, but those okay. So, did that happen? Did that happen in a physical? It felt like it was partially physical that happened as I woke up, but I don't remember anything that happened that night and to some of those times. Let's see here. And then after that, it's been odd, from seeing and having experiences with, my stepfathers and my father that passed, seeing their ghosts. Like, things kind of went kind of exponential after that, like with this experience with the gray thing, because they've come in and out of my life at times, and it's like I have no control over it. Like, I wish I had more control over it, but I don't. But for some reason, after that experience, like, different entities started coming around, right? Some willing.
All right.
Go
So
ahead.
let me jump in here first.
Okay, go ahead.
So at this point, you're like, oh, okay, what have I done? But the most interesting part about the stories, because since we're going to refer to them as just stories for
Yes.
entertainment purposes,
Yes.
is that some of the most true, and I guess if you could use the word sensible, not, I don't
Give
know
me
if
a
you could really
second.
use.
Check this out. Something's going on.
Are you getting a little crackly again? I think it sounds okay on my end.
Damn it.
Uh-oh. This is those damn machine elves. Okie dokie. Well, this episode of Boundless Authenticity is brought to you by absolutely nothing. If you're looking to sponsor something on my show, hit me up, self-sabotageinfo@proton.me, because otherwise I'm going to have to come up with some other fake advertisement to put in here. You know what I was thinking about today? We always see like these stickers and stuff, and it's like on your food, and it's like non-GMO certified and all that, like certified organic. But how come they don't ever put something like non-shit your pants certified stickers on stuff to let you know that if you eat it, you're not going to shit your pants, right? Like an NSPC, non-shit your pants certified sticker. I don't know, just my thought for today. What happened to Mojo? Has Mojo mojoed, or is he going to?
I'm back.
Oh, there you are.
I'm back. I had to like do, it was starting to glitch out again. There's something going on with my Focusrite. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. I have an interface where I use my mic. If it persists, I'm just gonna try to hook up my earbuds and do it that way, or I can do it through my webcam if you wish. If it starts to persist, I'm sorry that happened. It's something I've been trying to deal with on my show as well.
That's okay. I was sharing my most intimate thoughts while you were away.
Yeah, I just couldn't hear you. You started to sound like a robot, and I know it was probably me on my end. So
So what is it, like a Focusrite Scarlett or something?
Yeah, it's a Focusrite Scarlett, but I've had to turn down the frequency of the mic that's coming in because it wants me to do the standard for some reason, but the standard is acting like it'll start to glitch out a little bit. So sorry, I apologize for that.
Those particular sound cards, actually, I don't want to say this in case I ruin.
Yeah, go ahead. No, don't ruin for me. If I can do something better, I can change it up if you wish.
No, I'm saying what I was gonna say is that like sometimes you can get like latency issues on Windows if you're using Windows with those Focusrites.
Well, let's try it. Let's try it with the webcam.
Well, we got like 15 minutes left, so does it make sense doing all that?
Okay. Sure, but do I sound okay?
Did you change? Did you change?
Yes, I just changed it. It sounds farther away. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go back. Away.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for having me on. I apologize for some of the technical difficulties that I've been having on my side, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, maybe some of the viewers might, the more picky people, the NPCs that have to have everything perfect, but we're just hanging out.
Yeah, I mean,
life is not perfect.
I get it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Like,
it's not
but what I was going to say before you got knocked off there was that what's interesting to me about like UFO contact, most of the paranormal experiences that I hear is they sound a lot less like stories when they're through the lens of I was dreaming and then this happened, or I was asleep and then this happened, because it appears as though most of the really interesting especially in the ET contact thing is when a person's getting telepathic communication, or it's coming through dreams, or they've been asleep or something like that. And it's like whatever is going on is creating the conditions for these things to get through and talk to you. But I also like the part where, you know, like the alien had like the satchel and he's like, hey, chill out, I got snacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, chill out, man. I brought combos, dude.
Yeah. The more recent one was not asleep though. Like the TV one was not asleep. And to tell you the truth, do I know if I even went to sleep before I felt that feeling that they're going to take me up in a UFO? No, I don't even remember going to bed. I don't even remember that whole week. I don't remember anything. I remember having a pillow over my head and slowly gaining consciousness and being unable to move with a headache. Yeah. So
televisions are such strange devices because half the time they're acting like a portal into your house, but the other half of the time you're watching it and it only takes about 90 seconds for your prefrontal cortex to deactivate and you go into like alpha, right? So I mean, it's nobody says that there's rules where you can't like hallucinate while watching TV, you know, because of like device induced hypnotic trance, right? Or like
could be
hallucination, right? Well, and what is a hallucination really besides a projection of something that it isn't in the physical realm?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Or just, I don't know how to explain it. But I mean, they're very profound and real to me. Like I've had regular dreams. I've had regular vision, but like they're profound. Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't believe a lot of stuff, like hard belief.
Yeah.
But
it's fine.
The one thing that I do believe is that everything that happens in the natural realm happens in the spiritual realm. And so there's a rich spiritual unseen world happening around us. You could be chilling on your couch and like a gray alien dry hump in the back of your neck, and you never know because it's happening.
We're surrounded. Yeah, we're
Right.
surrounded. We are surrounded.
Yeah.
That is the thing. Once you start to realize that they're amongst us, whatever they are, and I don't know if they're aliens, all of them,
Mhm.
but there are you start to see it. I mean, I don't know why they like to go to retail stores too. Like I work as a merchandiser, and I've been approached by, this is how I explain it. I have time dilation. When something's in front of me that's for whatever reason not of whatever this is all about or not supposed to exist, time slows down. I literally see dust like flowing, and it's I can feel this in the pit of my stomach. I feel like anxious, but it's not like anxiety. It's a strange feeling, and that's one of the things that I've had. I think because of this experience is I have time, stuff slows down for me, and that's
That's
how I know
also
that it's that's how I know that it's like it's a legit something's coming that I need to pay attention to.
yeah. That's also a common thread in documented
Yeah,
contact. You're right. So it's just interesting. But yeah, you got one
yeah,
more story for me?
sure. Do you want to hear about my Sasquatch experience? Do you want to hear about the TV alien? It's running alien kind of thing right now, like the second one.
All right, let's talk
That one
about
was,
Sasquatch, but you're also crackling again, so you might want to reset your
yeah, I'm gonna have to
interface.
do that again. Is that okay? All right, let's see if I'm a little louder. Okay, so I'm going to sit up a little closer. I'm just going to use this mic because I'm just not going to mess with like what's going on. Okay, so Sasquatch encounter. There's two.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
Um, I moved up here in the winter of just the cusp of 2018 going into 2019. Me and my wife I've been with 14 years, and we moved from Southern California where I'd been raised to up here to Eastern Washington, and we got a new home. And that night the snow hit hard, but just prior to that, like we heard what we thought was walking on our deck and on our roof, like footsteps. Didn't pay anything attention to it. Could be that this is just an old house that's creaking, right? But it sounded like footsteps. That's weird. So anyway, we go to bed and we go through the winter, and it's a winter where, everything's kind of dark and bright at the same time, and all you want to do, you start going to sleep early because you're not used to it. And springtime arrives. Now, this story is remembered differently from my wife, but this is how I remember it. Okay, I'm sitting there with my wife hanging out in the main living room, and this has happened multiple times where we hear a knock at the door real quick, and it's a real fast knock. It's like a tap 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 tap, right? Open the door, nothing's there, right? Maybe it's kids, they're playing a prank. I don't know. The dogs would bark, whatever. So anyway, this one day, the door knocks. My wife asked me to go answer it. So I go and I answer it. And I open the door, and my house is on a 2-lane street, and you're facing basically ahead of you. There's more houses, right, on the other side, facing west. And I open the door, and everything gets really bright. And that's when things start to slow down. And I see at the corner of I have like kind of a front lawn, and shares it with the neighbor just a little bit, but there's a pine tree there that kind of blocks the street that leads up to a doorway that leads to my neighbor's house. And I see what looks like a 2D shadowy man running in place, like really fast, like that. It goes from 2D to 3D as it runs across into my neighbor's yard. to her front, like it's not a yard, but she has a garage, and then she has this walkway that goes to her door in her front yard, and it runs up the driveway next to the garage. And I'm just staring at it as everything's getting slow, and it peeks its head around the corner. And this thing is like this, his hand is on by the gutter. Whatever it was made of shadow, and it was distorted at the same time. It turns its head. All I see is white eyes. I have a picture of this. I drew this right after I saw it. It peeks its head, and then it turns and faces me. And this thing was massive. Like, it had no neck. It was just shoulders and long arms and muscle with like what looked like hair for where its balls might be. And the only way that I could tell that this thing had definition was that light was reflecting off its muscles. All right. But this thing had a diamond-shaped head, like a praying mantis, and two eyes in the middle of it. And it's like chest. It's just like big. And it just looked at me. And I looked at it and I said, nope, not today. And I closed the door and I walked back inside. Yeah.
That's wild.
And my friends told me that like you saw a Bigfoot. I don't know if I saw a Bigfoot, but whatever I saw was massive. Okay. And then my second story is I go to a place called Skookum Lake. Kind of weird that it's named Skookum, which is native, means Bigfoot, right? But I'd go there to go camping, and it's on the reservation. It's in the town of Usk. It's a small little town with a gas station, but this place is like rainforest, right? And you're right on the lake, and it's beautiful. It's pristine. And let me try to pull up that picture real quick before I go any further, before I start to continue and fast forward into another story. Let me see if I can find it real quick for you. And basically, I went camping there, and I went by myself because nobody would come with me, right? And still trying to look for it real quick. I think I know where it's at. I'm gonna have to stall my stuff as I try to find it. So anyway, I went out there, and it was hot. Is none of the camping grounds out here. This camping ground doesn't open up until after Memorial Day, or during Memorial Day, and that's it, right? And then it's at that point up in Eastern Washington where I live, it can get pretty damn hot. Okay, so I set up my tent. I make camp. I make fire. You know, I realized I forgot to bring my DEET with me, and there's like bugs, like because it's warming up. There's damselflies like flying in your face. There's mosquitoes. It's crazy. Okay, and so I'm going to show you this picture. When I was speaking of the entity that I saw, that's what it looked like. Like, that's the best description out of drawing it out that I could give you. Okay. This one I didn't actually see anything. Okay, this was mostly auditory. So when you're out there in the woods, like I'm so tired, I'm so relaxed. I wanted to go fishing. I wanted to go hiking. I didn't do any of that. I was tired because it was hot, and I had basically put out all my camping gear, and it was a lot of it, like firewood and an axe, and like my tent, and I'm just roughing it. And I'm at the edge of this forest, right? And there's the only thing that's in this campsite at the edge of the deep, dark forest is there's a bench, like a picnic bench, and it's got an area where you can put your food in so that animals can't get into them, right? Like a metal box. So anyway, I'm up late at night. I can't go to sleep. It gets to be about 2:00 in the morning. And I still can't sleep. The fire's going. So I lit candles on everything. And it attracted all the damselflies. They flew into the wax. It was great. But there's a lot of candles. So I put tea light candles all over like the table and on top of the bear or the animal metal trap thing so that I could see. And I'm just sitting there in my chair with my fan on and my citronella candle. All of a sudden, I hear the sound of a jet, like loud. I look up towards the sky, and there's an odd formation of orb-like lights dancing around. Okay. And then another jet sound, and they disappear. Not but 30 minutes later, I'm hearing sounds like vocalizations. I'm hearing something that sounds like, ah, and then it clocks a tree. And then down at the other side of the lake, clocks a tree. And then the other side of the lake, there's more of them clocking trees. I'm like, what is going on here? And then I hear footsteps in leafy areas around my camp. And I ask it through my mind. I'm like, what are you? What are you? I'm like, I'm not unsure, but I'm pretty sure, you're getting this kind of sense of feeling like there's something going on here just instinctively. And I'm like, what are you in my mind? And they said, we are warriors. And that went on until 3:00 in the morning at that lake. And there was knocking, and I swear you don't have to believe me. This is my story, but that happened. That happened. That's my favorite place to go.
When you got to the part about the vocalizations, I was laughing because, like, I was thinking to myself, well, if you're in Washington, it could be the ghost of Lane Staley. Like, ah!
Could be. Alice in Chains, yeah, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. I mean, I can't discredit anything because I've had some wacky stuff pretty similar happen to me as well, And I think I lived in Washington State for probably a few months, and I was like, I gotta get out of here. I hate the energy of this place. I gotta get out of here. But I was also near the airport. I was also near SeaTac. Yeah, so
I don't like Seattle.
Yeah,
I don't like Seattle. I mostly moved up here because my mom was getting older and she's elderly, and I wanted to be close to the rest of my family. And
right.
Southern California appeared to be collapsing, so I left and I moved up here.
Right.
I haven't regretted it. I love going out in the woods. That's what I like doing. That's my communion, to go out into the forest and the green trees, and it gives me a chance to get away from the city. This city is different than Seattle. Seattle's like San Francisco. It's very claustrophobic. It's a lot of buildings, a lot of sections, but living out in Spokane's a little different. It kind of feels a little bit like home, except it snows and there's a lot of pine trees. But
yeah, Spokane is nice. Yeah. Well, like, I don't know. I just find it kind of has that squatchy vibe to it, though. Like, it really does. Like the whole thing's got that squatchy vibe. You look out anywhere near where there's brush, you start to get a squatchy vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I've had fairy experiences out here. I mean, I've had strange occurrences out here, and some of them now shared with my wife. I've had an interaction with a weird object that flew over near my backyard. My wife pointed it out, and I asked it questions. I'm like, hello. Came out and said we were sitting outside. Sometimes we go sit outside during start when it's warm. Fireball flies over. She sees it. It brightens up my backyard. She goes, what the hell is that? And I'm like, I look up, and there's this weird, distorted, shadowy thing doing figure eights, in my backyard. It looks like a swirly figure eight where you can't make out it's what it is. And I said, hello, and it stopped. And it it like then it started freaking out a little bit, and then it just took off.
It took off. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen that
headed
here.
north. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that here. I've seen that along the East Coast here.
Yeah, it almost felt like it wasn't a ship, but it was like a consciousness, like it was like some sort of like it was an entity in itself, or I mean that's the only way I felt like it was conscious to me.
Around here, they call it the old hag. They claim it's this thing, and it sheds its skin and it flies around like a fireball. That's why it looks so wispy. It's according to the lore, but I don't know. It could be anything else, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen. I mean, I've seen things physically, like that was also confirmation that there's something weird going on. Like I've had UFO like experiences up. One of my first actual UFO experiences like was I was 50 feet away from it.
Yeah, I've never been that close to anything, I don't think. I remember when I was living in Pennsylvania, because I lived in Pennsylvania for the longest out of all the states. And I remember sleeping, and I'm laying on my right side in bed, and then this big bright white light comes through the window. And I just like, I go to turn to my left to see what it is, and then I just instantly knock out. And then I get up the next day, and I'm like, my stomach's hurting like so badly for the entire day after. I just felt so off, and I never really knew what that was about, and I just can't seem to access anything, not with anybody's help, nothing. So they did it pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, like if whatever they are real and they're all around us and they happen to have a technology, then they're the ones in charge. And like if they have the ability to hide amongst us, they also have the ability to create environments. How do you know that? Like, how do I know that I was actually aboard an alien spacecraft, or is that a projection of what they wanted me to see at that time? Like, that's where the doubt comes in, right? And to me, it almost feels like a my lab, right? Because of the drone. I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. Therefore, I had an alien experience, an intrusive alien shit. Of course, as a 15 or 16, 17-year-old kid, I'm going to go ask for help. I'm already discredited. Why? Because they gave me a diagnosis based on that, right?
Let's read some of these comments. And first of all, holy crap, I'm definitely reading that one. But first of all, if you get value from Boundless Authenticity, then don't let the algorithm hide the truth. Help us to spread the message of Boundless Authenticity by liking, sharing, and subscribing. So go ahead and do that. I'll wait. I'm just kidding. This one comment is outrageous. In a zombie scenario, I'd build a butt-shaped glory hole in my fence so the zombies would eat until I creamed myself to death. Classy. Thank you for that. That's the best comment I've ever gotten in my entire podcasting career.
Of course. Yeah.
Let's see what else. Whispering Portals, shout out. I've caught myself astral projecting on camera, and okay. NYMN4, don't know you, but welcome. Hope you like
That's Ruben. That's my buddy Ruben that lives nearby. Yeah, thank you for coming.
How's your day? It's Ruben. Okay, well there you go. Duh. Yeah. Paranormal Butterfly. How's it hanging? Thanks for being here. Try having
thank you.
Pop into your RV. Are you back on this Bigfoot's trying to get in your RV thing again? Bigfoot wants to make love to you.
Yeah.
You wake up one night and then you're just like a big Bigfoot wheelie in your face, like, hey, baby.
I'd run away scared.
He's dressed like Elvis. Oh, come on now. This is a peanut butter jelly sandwich. So yeah, if that's all the stories you're gonna share with us, then I don't know. If
nobody whatever you want to know, like I can go as long as you want or whatever. I'm here for you. Like whatever you need, man. Like you ask away. What would you like to know?
Now, honestly, let's just shift the focus a bit and talk about your
Okay.
podcast. So,
Okay.
like, you had to start over, but why did you start over?
Because Podbeam is no longer going to be live streaming as of May 18th. And then
Mhm.
in June, they're going to stop altogether.
Mhm.
I don't know
Why are they doing
why.
that?
I have no idea. They just said it was a business decision, and it was like mamby-pamby BS. Fucking like I had spent most of my time there. Like I prefer audio, like old school audio podcasts or radio.
Mhm.
And that's why I fell in love with it. And it was also like the Wild West. Like I could play other tunes without being copyrighted. I could get away with lots of stuff. But like, but the sound quality was not always that great. It was a little iffy at times. But I left because of that. But it was hard. It was like my home for a while, man. I love Pod. I even talked you into going to Podbean. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
you
I'm
did.
sorry. I'm sorry that I did, but like I had no other choice but to move on, and I couldn't afford Podbeam still just to upload my stuff and StreamYard. You know, StreamYard costs a little bit of money, so we moved to see if we could just do it on other platforms. And I always once we got into StreamYard, uh, you know, it had all these options, and I could do effects and stuff, and you know, sound bites if it works right, I could get away with it. So my podcast is called Of Dark Matters Podcast. And it used to be Please Stand By. And then we took a break, a little bit of a hiatus, and decided to rebrand as Of Dark Matters Podcast. And we were on the air for almost 4 years or longer. We were on there. You know, we had followers. And we deal with topics of the paranormal, conspiracy, the occult, and world news. And from our perspective, um, we try to play clips if we can to, like, you know, show what's going on more than just having an opinion show. And I kind of based it around the Twilight Zone and In Search Of and other shows that I used to grow up with that would talk about numerous topics and just the regular news. Like I base the format, or at least try to base the format of what I've seen on TV, and try to make it look like that if possible. And the whole premise of our show is that we have sound effects we use of cheering, and that we're a small pocket dimension in the dark corner of the multiverse as a studio. But the live audience thing is like it's not it's not real, other than the people in the chat and whatnot. And yeah, we just did our first show yesterday, and it went okay. There was some issues, you know. I mean, I was I was expecting things to go wrong. There was some clipping. There was I couldn't play my media assets like I'd like to. You know, it froze up a little bit. Did some stuff, but generally speaking, I think it went pretty well. I was able to think on my feet and figure it out. But I was my first show. I'm a little distracted with trying to keep up with everything. So we're on every Saturday from 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 6 p.m. Eastern. And it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit of humor, a little bit of rock and roll, a little bit of paranormal, like, you know. And I I didn't want to leave Podbeam. I really wanted to stay there. If they had kept on going, I would have probably stayed on Podbeam, just because I'd been there for so long and met so many good people, right? Like everybody that I met that had actually had the balls to be a podcaster there, we're all good people, just really good artists and stuff. And that's why I wanted you to be there, is because I'm sorry that they're like canceling their live streams there. But yeah, right now we're just YouTube and Facebook. We attempted to do X last night. It didn't work. We attempted to do Rumble. It didn't work. And, you know, we're just experimenting with our show. And I like having animation. I like working with green screens. I like having sound effects. And if I can imitate what's going on there versus, you know, over here, then I'm going to try to do it. But I've always been inspired by stories from the 1930s radio serial dramas. You know how you ever watch the effects that were used in the radio studios for those shows? So those shows would use practical effects. If they were hearing clapping sounds, they would do bricks or something on the table to make it sound like a horse. That's what I would like to do. Like I always wanted to do like that kind of a drama, but now like that we shifted to video, try to keep the show, make it psychedelic, make it weird, make it as close to like what I like about the Twilight Zone. Film in black and white. Also show clips and stuff. And we're critical of everything. I believe in free speech, which will probably get me banned, and I'm critical of everything. There's no topic that shouldn't be discussed. And there shouldn't be, what I think as humans, and I figured out through the alchemical transition of going through political things and feeling outraged and emotional and crazy, I learned that like what I want is a civil conversation with people, like regardless of where they come from. And I want to be able to also state my point of view regardless of how it is. And so we criticize religions, and we criticize my own, we criticize everything. We just feel like talking about whatever, and I try to set it up like a newscast. I really do. I want to give that feel if I can. And we're a work in progress, but I'm sure in a couple weeks our show will be kicking ass and no problems. So we've been around for 4 years. Previous to that, I was on Please Stand By, where Dr. Clutch, he was the host, and I was like his Ed McMahon. And we were on Podbean previous to that. And then before that, I was on a show called Two in the Same Boat on Blog Talk Radio under the Intestinal Fortitude Radio Network. And we were on for about 4 years. And then because of internal struggling and drama and whatever I didn't want to deal with anymore, that show ended. And the only thing that's left from that is I have skits that we did on the show. But we used to do skits. We used to do interviews, which I'd like to do more interviews, have more people on our show. You're welcome to come on my show. We could interview you, brother. You could tell us about your experiences. I always like to be able to cross over, have people come over. I like to have all perspectives. But I like to keep, what I try to do is I try to keep it within that framework of the paranormal and conspiracy. So like people that have had a Bigfoot experience, people that have had a UFO experiences or multiple UFO experiences, or if they're an alien themselves or a demon, we've had, I've had an exorcist on my show at one point. I've had I've had a Congolese voodoo guy on my show. I've had from witches to whatever, like just come on and talk about what you believe in and who you are. And I always try to treat my guests good. Like I've had people who like within our community, I don't know why there is this in the UFO community and the paranormal community, but there's a lot of drama, a lot of competition. I just say bah with that and bring it in, try to make it a good, if it's a good story. I don't have to necessarily believe it myself, but if they have a good story and whatever they want to show, I bring them on the show.
Yeah, a note on that. What I found is that it's best to stay away from the majority of people because there's a lot of disgusting people out there. They just want to like smile in your face and then they turn around and create drama out of nothing. And I'm just like, I didn't come here for that. Yeah. Clear, hard boundary. I just didn't come here for that. Like I'm here because I care about what's going on out there, and there's something to everything. And nobody knows jack squat about anything really, but we're just all trying to compare notes,
Yeah, no, I started having some clipping issues on your end, but I'm going to see if this is going to affect it real quick. I'm just having some issues hearing you. I don't know what's going on. Never mind. I'm just going to let it happen. There's nothing I can do. I can't switch it out right now. There we go. It's up again.
Okay, are you there? You're frozen. All right, well, if this is interesting to you so far, then I would encourage you to leave a like on this
There
video
we go.
and share it. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but you're actually helping this channel to grow. So if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. I almost said scrubscribe. What? Is that a word? Subscribe to my channel so you can get the information the mainstream doesn't want you to hear. And are we back? It's frozen again.
I hope so. I like to think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, you sound clear too. I had to focus. I had to go into my
Okay. All right, well, I think you've cut out again. Well, while we're waiting for him to come back on, I want to give some food for thought. I'm going to start doing this more often. I want you to think about this, not through a religious lens, not even through any lens of any spiritual concepts that you might already know, but think about it this way. People are not the enemy. Usually it's a dark spirit that's working through that person, and that is the enemy, the dark spirit, not the person. So, for example, people will use like Christian language quite often on the internet to kind of gaslight you or make you feel like you're less of a person, or like they're up on a pedestal where you're not, or people that believe in new age spirituality have religious trauma and stuff like that. And you got to realize that we're all just kind of fighting against each other because it's by design. The light doesn't attack the light, okay? Only the darkness is going to attack somebody that's got light in them. So if a person's commenting negativity, then that's a dark spirit working through that person. If somebody's giving you shit, that's a dark spirit working through that person. So you have to understand that and forgive people quickly, because we know that the dark side has many tricks. So that's my food for thought for today.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Okay, there you are. You're back.
Yeah, man, I had to make an adjustment. I'm sorry.
All right, I decided to give a sermon while you were gone.
No, I was listening to what you're saying. You're spot on, dude. Like, you really are. Yeah. We can channel things and be unconscious. I think that's one of my belief systems. Like, people, possessions or stuff, or darkness, whatever. Is that trauma? Is that an archetype within them? Is it metaphor? Is it metaphor for someone who's damaged and gone down the downward spiral? Mm-hmm. Right?
I'm hardly a deliverance minister or a exorcist or anything like that, but I've had moments where I've just gotten really angry and I knew that wasn't me. It felt like something entered me, and I've said, "Get out now," and like yawned or something, and it went away, right? So
yeah,
I just feel like there's stuff floating around, like in this day and age, in the year 2020 stupid, there's like so much stuff just flying around trying to jump in you. And
well, I think that there are a lot of things out there. I think we're surrounded, man. I think that there are a lot of things. Maybe some of them are stuff that we create. What if there is a place, right, where the gravity and physics and the mind collide? What if because I mean, there's so many different like reports of really odd creatures, not just the typical like Bigfoot, gray alien, or whatever, but there has been sightings and stories of things that come out of a fictional book, right? Or a comic book. So what if there's a place where it's easier to make that said tulpa or egregore, just where it intersects with like consciousness and physics in some way? Maybe that's the portal, that people talk about, or maybe that's the spiritual places of spiritual power that they talk about. I don't know, but I've often wondered that, like, are they glitches of the matrix, some program that's random, or something that we created? Like, maybe it is like that. Maybe we are able to interact and bring something towards us physically and material. If the esotericists are right?
Maybe, maybe they're right about the archons and stuff too. I just feel like whatever it is, some one of these or variations of these creatures, entities, whatever phenomenon you want to label it as, they really hate us and they envy us and they just want to screw up.
So
our
you
life.
you believe in the idea of the fallen or like demonic like entities like. I mean, I do too. I'm just saying.
I just casually call them demons and stuff, just for simplicity, not for religious reasons, just for simplicity.
Yeah,
like
no, I get
everybody
it.
knows what a demon is, So
yeah, a negative entity.
Yeah,
a negative entity. Yes.
And I just think that they exist amongst all different types of things, and there's probably billions, just like how there's billions of people. And just based on what I've seen and experienced, especially recently, they like
tell me that.
Yeah, they like to mess with you. Oh yeah, I've had some spiritual attacks lately, and I'll tell you one of them. I was laying in my bed, and I was sleeping, and then all of a sudden the electricity goes off, and I start hearing like somebody's talking through a distortion box, and it's on the right ear, only on the right ear, and it's in a woman's voice, and I'm like, what the heck is this? So naturally, me being a hard ass, I resisted all of it, because I always tell people, okay, so the reason the aliens aren't visiting me in the middle of the night to abduct me is because I like to sleep. And if you wake me up, I'm going to be pissed off and I'm going to beat you. I don't care what planet you come from, what dimension you come from, I'm going to beat your ass.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll get up in your ass. Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes I'll get up in the middle of the night and there'll be like a heavy presence standing there or whatever, and I got to piss and my eyes are closed still. I'm just walking and touching the wall, and I know it's there, and I'm like, hey, don't fuck around with me tonight. And it goes away,
Yeah.
But yeah, I digress. So I'm laying there and I hear that, and I start like thinking to myself, yeah, whatever this is, I'm not having it. And it comes back, and I feel like it's pushing on my body and stuff. And then I feel a wave of energy all over my body, and it says, maybe you can do this in your voice box thing. It says, we want you out now. Get out of your body now. And I'm like, what the heck? So naturally, I start praying. And I'm like, please, baby Jesus, just don't do this tonight.
Oh, okay. My wife is checking on me. She wanted to say hello to y'all.
Howdy, wifey.
You want to come say hi?
Mrs. Mojoe.
Okay. Hello. Shit. Yeah.
Anyway. I heard you. Hi. Good night. Have a great night.
Yeah. So your story of the thing wanting to come in you, right?
Hey, well, don't say that out loud. That sounds like
no, feel like that. They wanted to come inside you, and that's not what I meant.
Yeah, as soon as I get out of your body, and as soon as I start praying, it disappears.
Okay, I had like the vivid dream of what looked like a real skinny, almost like it looked like it was wearing a disco suit, but it was like
Elvis.
But its hair was like kind of longish and stuff, and it was pale as fuck. And the white disco suit, John Travolta disco suit, looked dirty and grimy. And this thing was talking to me, and it kept on telling me to come on, I'm your friend. Let me in. I'm your friend. And every time it would say I'm your friend, its eyes would glow blue, and its teeth would start to get sharp as it started to kind of morph in front of me.
Wow.
And then as I was just looking at it, it says it just got pissed off. And its eyes turned red, and it's just teeth. Let me in. And I'm like, fuck you. And I woke up. And then the message that came from it was that demons and devils come in the guise of a friend. They don't come to you.
Absolutely.
They don't come to you like straight up. You don't see their true image. They have the illusion. They'll come to you as a friend or someone making a deal or offer. And that I have that story. It sounds, sounds
Yeah, absolutely.
familiar.
The dark forces never present themselves the way that you think they would.
No, they
I'll
don't.
tell you another story completely unrelated. Also, the John Travolta thing was hilarious because you're lucky as hell it didn't say Greece is the word, because I'd be out there in no time, buddy. Oh, hell no. But yeah, about 17 years ago, I remember I was at my my house, my mother's house. I started seeing her picking up and dropping off this old lady that used to go to the beach and stuff, right? And then, like, over a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, my mother would get progressively, day by day, weaker and more tired and stuff like that, right? So she starts going to the doctor. The doctor's like, nothing's wrong with you. I can't find anything, everything looks in balance and stuff like that. And she's like, I'm completely perplexed. She can't figure it out. And I kept saying to her, I think that lady is like draining you of energy. Stop going
Yeah,
around the lady, right? And she didn't hear me or anything like that.
yeah.
So one evening I decided to take care of it. So she'd bought this pair of shoes because it was always something with this lady. She's like, "Oh, I need this," and she's always got some story. So she
Hmm.
bought this pair of shoes and she was gonna give it to the old lady. And I said, "Don't give her anything. Like she's draining you of energy."
Yeah.
And my mom didn't understand what that meant. I didn't even understand what that meant because I was still waking up at that point. But I knew something was off. So I'm
Well,
walking out, and I know that she's coming down at this time in the evening, right? So I go
mhm,
out there and I start walking up the road. I'm looking for her, and I see her just as she's crossing the highway to come into my neighborhood. And I'm
yeah.
walking going up on the left side of the road, and she's walking coming down on the right side of the road. And I lock eyes with her, and I just say in my head to her, "I know exactly what you are. I will kill you." And as soon as I say that, she disappears and like shows up on the other side of the highway, and she's running. And I'm like, that ain't no old lady, 80 something years old, and she claims to be, is going to be sprinting going down the highway like that. And then I see her
Yeah.
disappear, like literally disappear.
Do you believe in vampires, like out of
Yeah,
folklore, or do you think they're
yeah.
metaphor for something else?
Vampires could be getting mixed up with all different types of entities that have the same powers. It could be
Yeah,
anything. And
but like, but what if through some sort of occult key, right? They've the left hand pathers or certain left hand pathers have figured it out. Like I wonder, like about that because there's stories of like black eyed children or teenagers or like even like that see, and I've had those experiences. Um, are they vampires? Are they a soulless human? Am I seeing a soulless human, or am I seeing something that is wearing a human skin that's not human before me?
I
if
definitely
if there
think
are
in that
people like myself that are sensitive that feel emotion, there's got to be something that feeds on it, right? Like,
yeah. Mhm.
right?
I
Like,
definitely think in
and what
that
if they're
instance it was
conscious of
something.
it? What if
Okay, we're on a
now
lag.
some people would call them reptilians? Are we? Do you want me to try and make an adjustment again? Okay, I'm sorry. Let me do that again. Okay. Do I sound better?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just didn't want to be
Okay.
talking over you while you were talking. I was saying in that instance it could be something wearing a human skin. It sure seemed like it to me.
Well, I mean, I they'll try to explain through psychology that you're just having some sort of psychotic break and you're seeing something weird, but I don't think it is. Why does time slow down when they're around me? Why do when I look at them in the eyes, they don't have any white part of their eye, and their eyes are black? Like, what is that? I don't know. Like, I've had feelings like when I felt like somebody was like, you just feel like something, like you're near a predator of some kind, like a monkey that's freaking out because it sees a lion down there. That's the only way I can put it together. Like that feeling would be comparable, but you don't quite understand it, why you feel that way. And then it slows down and it's weird. So what if someone had found a way? What are they demonic? Are they hybrid aliens? Do they feed? Because I believe that they can feed. I think the whole idea of World War III is a big loosh thing. Every time I go on Facebook, every time I see a bunch of shit that's now being posted in my algorithm, I feel like I'm being fed something that's trying to draw me into an outrage event, right? Like, for whatever reason, if you just happen to click on it or look at it, it'll start to amplify it for you. If they find out that your podcast is talking about certain topics that seem to be socially taboo, guess what's going to come up on your feed is going to be the opposite of that. That's weird. It just, there's different ways, right, that this occurrence just feels like we're all being fed upon. They can't feed upon it once you know about it and you just laugh at it. But there's also this attempt, I feel, to desensitize myself. Maybe you feel that too, to desensitize yourself, like a madness frequency, an emotional frequency. People would call it the mind virus. People would call it something, but maybe there's something to it. Like, I don't know. But yeah, evil only wants to absorb. It only wants to bring more shadow. You think you're dealing with separate entities? No, you're dealing with the same organism. It just wants to envelop. It wants you to be a part of that organism just as much as being a part of whatever the source is. You can receive messages that way. That's how I see it. But is it a manifestation of the idea that is that black and white? Because I don't think it's as black and white as that. Is there a part of our consciousness where fictional reality can become reality, or are we peering into other realities through the idea of fiction? And why is it that things from fiction seem to make it into our reality? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? Am I babbling here? Like, why does Escape from New York and LA feel like a documentary? Like,
sometimes when somebody's babbling or when I'm babbling, I think probably making the most sense. But the way that I like to think of it for now, this is just a theory that I've worked with for a few years, and it hasn't changed because it just makes the most sense. It's like, we're inside of this flesh suit, this meat popsicle with legs, and the only reason we can't see it is because we're stuck in this. But in reality, everything is that other realm. You get what I'm saying?
No, we're not stuck in this. We're not.
You get what I'm saying? Like, everything else is...
I firmly believe in the idea that there are energy centers in our body that are vortexes. And it goes along the lines of the tree of life. But it also goes into esoteric practices. Those said energy centers are also connected to the elements and to different form of consciousness, right? You put the tree of Yggdrasil next to the Kabbalistic tree of life, and then you look at the chakras and you look at how it starts down below and goes all the way up. The crown chakra, it would be Asgard, right? In the tree of life, it all connects. And in esoteric, you can send your consciousness into those planes of existence through your body. So we're not necessarily trapped in it. It's just about learning the mastery and those techniques and the katas and the exercises to do it.
All right, I get that, right? But some of us don't have time for that. And I validate you in that as well, right? Because I get all that stuff, right? I understand
Yeah.
all that stuff. But what I'm saying is that like everything that we're saying is paranormal is normal, and that's all like
Yes.
happening all the time. And it's just that we've gotten sent to be in these flesh suits. So now we got to go through, like you were saying, we got to go through all these complex processes, or sometimes we're
Yeah.
watching TV like you were, and then, whoa, shit, flew consciousness, projected right out.
Interacts.
So I
Yeah.
think that that's really what's going on, and that that's really the only knowledge that's hidden. Everything else you can go and you can look for it, but I feel like that knowledge is just hidden right between your eyes, and we just get conditioned from the time we're birthed not to see it. You know,
Do you believe in ancestral memory, like your genetic code of
100%.
whatever you're connected to, even though you have a spirit, like opens you up to like the knowledge of even up to your first ancestor? Do you?
100%, especially as a
Okay.
hypnotherapist. 100%. Some of the shit I hear,
Okay.
and like, oh my god, that
And
you came here for anxiety, bro. Like,
yeah, and I believe that like once you awaken, you're able to tap into all of that if you wish
yeah,
to.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I've had
maybe
some
that was
pretty
the path I
mystical
was taking.
experiences
Like
too.
yeah, maybe that was the path I was taking, just kind of unconsciously, that led me to that path naturally.
Hmm.
Um, you know, but yeah, I believe that myself. I believe in that ancestral memory. I believe that it is that we're connected to that. Like it's like if we're infinite, right, with our consciousness, and our consciousness lives like outside of our body in the quantum zone, whatever that may be, and we don't die, we're truly immortal. Whether you believe in reincarnation or like whatever, but like that we just continue on into different forms, right? Or even if you die, you jump on not only into the new reality, but the adjacent alternate reality that's next to it, right? That's why we don't remember, maybe. I think that it's eternal. Like, and I don't know about repetition of the same stuff. Maybe that's the way it is. Maybe, who knows? I've heard stories that sometimes you die, you go back in time. Like I've heard those stories.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, but I definitely um, I don't know about you, man. Do you ever have feelings of like, say, like the archetypical metaphor, or like signs and omens and stuff, that even though it looks like in the material world it may be decay, but on another level, spiritually or visually, it's something else altogether? You feel the presence of said dark beyond like your own personal experiences with it attacking you, or
There throughout my entire life, there have been experiences where I'd be like, yeah, there's something dark here, and like wherever I am, like where my hand is at, wherever I am, it's like just beyond the other side of me, and I know that I can't see it, but I know that it exists on the
yeah,
other side. You know what I'm saying? And like something dark, like if even going to places and being like something dark either happened here or it's gonna happen here, and I'm picking up on it. And I get a lot of stuff through
yeah,
dreams as well.
um, yeah, yeah. Um, I've felt that. Am I lagging right now? Probably a little bit of lag, huh?
Yeah, it looks like an internet lag type
I
thing.
just Okay. Let me see what I can do on my end. I don't think it's an internet lag. I seem to be doing all right.
Yeah, you're back
But
now.
do I sound like Huh?
You're
I'm
back now.
back.
You're not
Okay.
crackling.
Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, I've always wondered that. Like, you ever seen the movie Prince of Darkness by John Carpenter? Did you ever see that film about the church, and the researchers go to the church, and there's like concentrated evil that has been contained underneath the church, and like it starts to affect like the homeless people, and it starts to affect like the reality around it? You've never seen that film?
Never seen it. Nope.
Okay, so I'm going to use this as in the analogy, like when we're seeing the decay in cities, you ever think that maybe that decay on a spiritual level of reality is being affected by something dark, like that's affecting that
Really?
area? Do you think it's not just more than politics or randomization or normalization? It's like a seeping, like you just feel it, right? Like you just feel it like in the stones or the air or the reality.
If I'm being honest with you, I feel that way about a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
and I just wonder, not believing it, but I just wonder if that's not the purpose of the darkness trying to get in on us,
Yes.
all of that stuff, because they've already created that on in their realm, and they have to
Yes.
merge with us, kind of like Bizarro
Yeah.
World or some shit.
Or like a series of events have to happen in the right formation for the whatever it is into the future to come forth into our reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And right now it looks like the machine spirit like is winning right now, whatever that may
Yeah.
be, you know, manifesting into our reality. I don't know. I've always wondered that, you know.
Yeah, I definitely get that. And I mean, they do show us in a lot of different movies and stuff. And most recently, we had Stranger Things. And I mean, what is that about?
The
Yeah.
Montauk Project. That's about
No,
the
I mean,
Montauk.
I know. I mean, when I say what is that about, I don't mean literally. I mean like the upside down world, how they portray everything in the other realm. When they go through on the
You
other
mean
side,
like,
how there's like mirrors of everything, and it's all dilapidated and like destroyed and stuff.
yeah,
I think to myself, that's I think to myself, that's actually kind of what it's like, isn't it? Like you're trying to merge.
could
And
be.
then we have all this stuff going on with CERN and all this stuff that we're not supposed to talk about, or we get flagged.
You can't talk about it or you get flagged for sure.
You talk about too many, you talk too much about portals, or you talk about CERN too much, and then your podcast gets interfered with.
Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I didn't know that. Well, we'll try. We'll try to refrain from going into a deep discussion of wormholes that might open up in front of a TV set. Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
know. I wow, I did not know that. I'll have to. Yeah, self censorship sucks.
I know it really does. It doesn't work for the Boundless Authenticity podcast because it doesn't like doesn't
No,
match
you
up with
should
the
be
theme
able to
here, right?
speak however you want, right? Like,
But it reminds me, we're going to speak metaphorically since we're allowed to talk about what the TV's already told us. It
yeah.
reminds me also of the latest. Is it Superman and Lois? The on the CW or something like that. I checked it out. Somebody
Okay.
told me to check out like the last season or something, and it was like they tried to bring Bizarro World into this realm, and it was the same concept where there was like this whole other realm, a mirror image, but the sky was completely red and blacked out like a good, nicely chemtrailed day. And oh shit, you're not supposed to say that either, but I already did. Oh well. And it just looked like, yeah, this is what's happening to us. Like something bad's happening on that side, and they're trying to gradually bring it over to our side.
Well, believing putting things into the collective consciousness is a good way, like preemptive programming,
Yeah.
to get us used to the idea of certain things. I think they've been doing that for years with the UFO disclosure and like ancient aliens. I think ancient aliens is a psyop. I think a lot of it is like I think a lot of it is there to confuse you to like the only thing that I can sort of trust more than anything else is my own reality, like experiences. Like that's what I believe in versus like the stories, right? The ones that are constantly pounded into our head. And even then, like, am I seeing what I saw? Was that what I was supposed to see, or was I seeing something that wanted me to see something else as that, and it was something altogether? But people will tend to when they think of the dark, they always go to Satanism, right? Like they don't. I mean, I'm not defending Satanism. I'm just saying that usually becomes the more conspiratorial topic when it comes to blanket labeling anything else outside of Christianity or whatever as the dark, right? But um, whatever that is, uh, I think it has many names and many shapes, and I think it's able to take the form of stuff if it's a real entity. I think maybe it's the God aspect of like a creator destroyer conscious entity of energy and spirit. What if it's not separate? What if it's one form, right? Either you're light or you're dark or you're somewhere in between, the middle pillar, right? And what if the energy of whatever that is creator and destroyer? It's as easy as those two archetypes, and it's about tapping into this or tapping into that, right? And maybe it's not black and white like that. I don't know. It never seemed to be black and white like malevolent, except for that one story I told you with the disco suit demon. But most of the time, even things that were dark only wanted to say hello, right? Like they just wanted to me to acknowledge their presence, and they wanted to say hello. That's what I got from. I had a friend who did invocations and left hand path magic, right? And he had an entity that was living on him, like a spirit, like a guardian spirit. I've seen guardian spirits on people, especially people that practice and do these kinds of things and commune. Some of them will switch out whatever entity that's on them for something, or maybe they're born like that. I don't know. But I had a friend on New Year's Eve that came over. It was a really odd thing. Like he was, at the time, he was a Satanist. Now he's found God. But at this time, he came outside. He was my friend, and we had a talk. And we were sitting out in my balcony, right? And the kitchen light was turned off. This is down in Southern California. We're on a couch outside, and the only thing I could see on his eyes is light. That, like, it's just on his eyes from the reflection of light coming in from the family room. And he's talking to me, and he's telling me how much he loves me, and, like, you know, that I'm a good friend, and that, like, the relationship I had with my girlfriend, now my wife, like, that's the best thing that have ever happened to me, and that she's a great woman. And he just came over. He didn't come over to hang out. Well, I had other friends that were hanging out, you know, and they were getting ready to party, right? It's New Year's Eve, you know. And as soon as I started lighting sage, like, he had to leave. Like, I was doing a little clearing ritual. I was listening to some Icarus, and I was cleaning the room out and trying to get it to the energies to not be stale. He asked me if I'm doing ritual, and I'm just gonna. I can't mention his name. We'll call him Dave, but that's not his name, right? But he's a tattoo artist. He's an occultist. He's all, hey, I got something to show you, and I turn my head, and that's when everything gets slow, and it looked like his head split open, and like something came out of his ear, which looked like a little ghost, like a cartoon spirit ghost. And then it, like, went over, and it was a box, and it was an angry, like, hybrid lion, like that. It looked at me, and the box, like, it was in a perfect circle inside of a box that went over his head. And all of a sudden, I see a flash that goes completely gray. What looks like water, that is, like, you have water and you put black ink in water and it starts to swirl around. Like, that's what I saw. And it looked like it was trying to reach out to me. And after that, like, everything went back to normal. He said, love you, gotta go. And, like, I was stuck on that for hours. Like, did my friend just, did something just come out of him? Well, later on, I found out that, like, whatever that was on him, he had to go make peace with. It was like some sort of trauma entity that was on him, that was protecting him. And every time that, like, for some reason, the thing wanted to just say hello to me. Like, and that's been the case with a lot of it. The ones in the retail stores, they just wanted an acknowledgement that they exist. So they're letting me see them for about a second. Like, even if it felt dark or whatever, like, I never felt like I was threatened. The only time it felt threatening was with the disco suit demon. That's the only time that felt threatening. But once again, just more stories, man.
That's the thing with, that's the thing. Okay, so 2 points. That's the thing with the mind, because the mind wants to fill gaps with information that it already has so that you can formulate a picture. So it's a projection using information you already have and not necessarily what it actually is. So who knows what it could have actually looked like in reality versus what it looked like to you. But secondly, when people label stuff as that was dark, Is it dark because of the emotional atmosphere inside your body that you felt, or was it dark in
Yes.
reality? Like all of these are questions you now have to ask that make the playing field so much broader and more annoying to kind of.
Yeah, no, it felt dark, man. It felt dark. Like it was dark. Like you could tell it was dark, but it didn't seem malevolent. That's all.
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, it could have been malevolent if it wanted to be. I mean, I even asked my friend, I'm like, "This whatever on you, like, want to do me harm?" And at first he would be like kind of like, "No, I don't know what you're talking. Maybe I don't know." And he didn't even realize it was until I told him later on, as he was trying to do like spiritual cleanses and like try to figure him out. And he had to go make. He's all, I had to go and tell it I love it, and like that I forgive it, and that I made peace with it. I said he says whatever it was, like I made peace with it, and I gave it a hug like it was a child, and it went away. But previous to that, he would tell me stories that he felt nihilistic, and we had negative feelings about the world and people in general, and like he said, that was one of the parts that he was cleansing, and whatever it was semi-conscious. Was it an actual demon or spirit? Was it a fragment of his subconscious that had been coming to life based on whatever he did? I don't know, but it was very real to me, and it's not the first time I've seen that. I've seen for a while there. I was seeing people's souls a little bit. I had a couple friends, one I didn't really know, but if they let their guard down for 2 seconds and make eye contact with me, it's always accidental. But I saw a lady, there was an old hippie lady that I used to know, named Menta. And I went to one of her parties one night, and like all of a sudden, because she was like in her 60s, but she acted like a little girl, like a 15-year-old girl. And for a moment, I saw this 15-year-old version of version of her, like it was kind of lit up. It was kind of around her aura. It was like flashed in my head and in front of me at the same time, and I could see that she was just like, that was her soul. There was a gay guy one time that I used to work with at Walmart. He was very nice, very good person, and like I shook his hand one day just to introduce myself to him. And, I'm Joseph, and he let his guard down for a second, and I saw that like he had his eyes, but it was a woman. Does that make sense? Like I don't like, but it's like for like a second, like it's like you definitely saw what you saw or whatever, but like yeah, sometimes that's happened.
Yeah, I've had experiences similar. Like one time I was at a friend's house and I'm coming downstairs and he's got this girlfriend and she was just like the narcissist, the definition of it. And everybody knew it except for him. And I'm coming down the stairs, and, you're just walking down the stairs, minding your own business and stuff. And I look to my left where she's at, and then I see like the side of her head, there's a face sticking out of the side of her head. And I'm like, okay, how many? Okay, I had enough of that. And I just turn around and walk back up the stairs.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe that's another like attached, like I believe in like attached entities and guardian entities that
Yeah.
are around you. Maybe they're your ancestors. Maybe there's something else. You would
I
call
wasn't ready
guardian
for it at
angels.
the time. I wasn't ready for it
Yeah,
at the time at all. I spun around, went right back upstairs. I screw this. I'm out of here.
yeah.
And I've seen like a few years ago, this guy is on a bicycle and he stops his bicycle and he stops and he looks up at me. And as he looks up at me, his face changes and he's got like these big red eyes and like
What?
whatever is behind, instead of like a face behind the red eyes, is just like a void. However you would describe a void, a black void. And I'm like, what is that?
That is, you're seeing like the glimpse. It's trying to get you to acknowledge its presence, man.
And I'm like, nope.
Yeah, like that's kind of how you feel, right?
Yeah,
Like you
not
don't even
today.
want to deal with it. You're like, why? Yeah, why am I dealing with this now? Like, why me? And the only thing that I could come up with is because.
Yeah, just because.
just
There's no other
because.
reason.
And I
Yeah.
was chosen for some reason, or maybe it's random circumstances, but for some reason, I was chosen to wake up a little ahead of time before everybody else. That's all.
I felt
And
like that my whole
because
life. I felt like that my
for
whole life because I'd have
yeah,
spooky stuff happen to me as a kid, and I would tell the other kids at school, and they would just be like,
yeah,
"Like,
they
why?"
didn't get it.
No, none of this stuff was happening to them, and I
Oh,
was like, I wish I knew the terminology NPC back then.
am I clipping again?
No,
Give
you're
me a
good.
second. Okay, it sounds like it's clipping on your end for some reason. Let me just adjust it again.
Maybe I was too close to the microphone or something because you really can't
It's
get too
not.
close.
It's not. It's something going on with the loud clicking in my head. Give me 1 second here. Okay. We'll see if this works. I hope you can hear me here real quick. Let me go back to that real quick. All right. So let's see if this will work. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. I should be back by now. I'm sorry that I'm having to make these adjustments, but when you sound like a robot on your end, it's really hard for me to hear
I
you.
sound like a robot. Oh
It was
no.
clicking really large. It was clipping, and I apologize for that. I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you and what you're saying. And it was getting to a point where it was, it wasn't fun on my ears. I'm gonna throw it in the trash, maybe. I'm done with this Focusrite thing. So
Maybe it's time for an upgrade.
you can hear me good, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I can't hear you now. That's weird.
That's interesting.
Uh,
All right. Can you hear me?
can't hear you. Can't hear anything.
All right. Let's see.
Here, let me go through.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, let's go back to another sermon, I guess. One of the concepts that I've been thinking about lately is this idea that everybody wants to wake up, right? Okay, so you wake up, what do you do? Do you pull the covers over yourself, go back to sleep, or do you actually get out of bed and keep like going along about your day looking for other ways to become more aware, right? But also, what if there's a process of being aware or conscious again after a period of just, I don't know, being asleep? So it's a reawakening, right? You look at that and you think to yourself, reawakening. So we always talk about awakening and spiritual awakening, but what about the everyday magic of reawakening? How many of you are so caught up in your convictions? Are you back? Yeah, I can't hear you. Your microphone's muted. Definitely can't hear you. I'm going to see if I can unmute your microphone. And I can't. It says your mic isn't connected. Seems like Mojo's got some technical difficulties going on. So, anyways, where was I at? How many of you are so caught up in your convictions and beliefs that you actually disallow yourself to reawaken daily? That's your homework. Figure that out. Where's Mojo? I think they got him. They definitely got him. I can see him, but he's kind of frozen. Okay, we're just gonna wait for him to come back in the studio. And meanwhile, I'm just watching my bird eat this bread. Here you go, birdie. Let's read some comments here. Aliens interferences. What were you talking about? Let's see what's going on here. I think we're just going to wait for him to come back. If he comes back in, then we're going to have to wrap this up because we've been going for about 2 hours and 5 minutes now. If anybody's got any questions, now would be a great time to ask because, well, we got some gaps to fill. Maybe I should just talk about some more other stuff. I don't know. One of the most interesting points that we were touching on earlier is that the dark forces never present themselves in the way that you think. So what does that mean for you? Because there's a lot of arguments too. There's people that think that the stuff that they're seeing that could inherently be dark doesn't mean anything at all. And they think that it's light and fluffy stuff. Maybe it feels light and fluffy to them. But I can't say for that person, and none of us could say for that person. But I want you to think, like, what if something in your life that you think is light is actually presenting itself and it's actually dark? What do you think? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back, man. I'm sorry. Something doesn't want us to come on the air tonight and talk about such discussions.
Well, in any case,
yeah, go ahead.
In any case, I was waiting for you to come back because we've been on for like 2 hours and 7 minutes now, and it's time to wrap it up.
Okay, sounds good. Whatever you'd like to do. Do you want me to just tell where people can reach me if they wish?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Of Dark Matters has gone to YouTube and Facebook. You can find it under the Of Dark Matters podcast with Mojoe the Mad and Dr. Clutch page. And you can find me under Mojoe the Mad on Facebook. You can find me under Mojoe the Mad on Instagram. I'm also on Substack under Mojoe the Mad and my podcast Of Dark Matters. We have our own Telegram channel called the Of Dark Matters podcast under the same name, where we interact with other artists and other podcasters and try to co-collaborate and communicate with each other so that we can build a better community. And I also have a SoundCloud of my music and sketches in my former podcast, which was called Please Stand By, and Mojoe the Mad and the Drama Llama Ding Dongs, which was my old band. And we had music. You can find us on the on YouTube under videos at times. You could find my old, it's also electronic music, it's also rock and roll, and it's also sketches and ads that I made for the show Please Stand By. Yeah, and I just want to wish everybody, it's a real honor to be here. I'm sorry we've had so many technological issues with this damn show. I'm like I said, you're probably right. The Focusrite Scarlett is probably something I'm going to have to get rid of. But thank you for having me on, and it was really good to meet you, and I look forward to further conversation with you, not only online, John, but whatever, man. And yeah, if you want to come on my show too, like, let's do that. Like, let's have you on, and I'm looking for guests that want to come on. We'll put you on the calendar.
Of course, my microphone's muted when I say that. I said, of course. I said, that would be pretty swell. We can hook that up.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that way you can talk about your experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many. You ever feel like there's so many that you hardly remember them all? Anyways. Yeah. Uh-oh. Now I can't hear you again. All right. Well, he's about to throw the Focusrite Scarlet through the window, so we won't be getting any Focusrites sponsorships anytime soon.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
There I have an echo. Okay. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for having me on. This was a great show, and I had a lot of fun, and it was good to interact with you and joke around and laugh and have a good time, man. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you, sir. All right. Well, we are at the end of another Sunday live. It is Sunday, right? Because I can't remember. I remember I said I couldn't care less.
Sunday.
I couldn't care less if Monday fell on a Sunday, so I don't know if it's
Yeah,
actually Monday or not.
it's Sunday.
I'm like chewing my words and stuff. But anyways, I digress. Here's the classic line. Thanks for being on the Boundless Authenticity podcast. I feel very George Newry-esque whenever I say that, for one reason or another. We are on Podbean still, boundlessauthenticity.podbean.com. And of course, subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can join the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/boundlessauthenticity. And
Like,
I
share,
don't think I have anything
subscribe.
else.
Like, share, subscribe. Make this young man go to the top.
That's right.
Yes.
Make me rich, bitches. All right.
Yes, make him rich. No applause, just money.
All right.
Yeah.
Peace out. Bye. End stream.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I think we're off.